Friends, welcome to another episode of Poppin' Bottles. I'm one of your co-hosts, Barry Napier, and I am here with my other co-host, Brandon, and we are located at the Fox and Bottle, and this is the wine show for anyone and everyone who loves wine and loves community. Brandon, what are we popping on today's episode?
Barry, I'm so stoked to share this wine, not only because it's incredible wine, incredible winery, I think one of the quintessential Washington wineries, but it has such a fascinating, fun history and story to it. So we are popping a 2021 Cave B Tempranillo. We're going to focus on Cave B today. So both of our bottles today are going to be from Cave B. This has such a fun story. So I'm going to start there. So it starts with a young Irish Italian boy back in Brooklyn, New York, who found his way through life. And from Brooklyn, New York to the Gorge of George, we have Cave B. And Vince are the ones who founded the Gorge, who we all love, and we've seen shows, and we're so thankful to that. With this idea back in, might get the year wrong, I want to say it's early 80s, 83, 84. They have this idea to be farmers, have heart of a farmer, and I want to sell grapes to that. At the time, this is crazy. At the time, the 13 or 14 wineries in Washington. Now, do you know how many wineries are in Washington?
Over 200.
1,000. Around 1,000 wineries in Washington. Around 1,000 wineries, give or take every year. But we're at about around 1,000 wineries in Washington. So back in the day, they're selling grapes, the handful that were there. And over time, they cultivated this following in their vineyards. And so this is Cave B Estate Winery. So this is wine from their estate, their vineyards. This is their Tempranillo. We'll get into what Tempranillos are traditionally of, but let's get into the glass because this is one of my favorites of theirs, and it's not exactly the Tempranillo maybe you're like thinking of from Spain.
It's very dark compared to what I would think of with the Tempranillo, the Tempranillo. I mean, it has like a beautiful color to it.
Beautiful, yeah.
Smells delicious.
That's great. 5 years old, I think, for this wine. Still kind of a young, budding little beauty here. Medium plus body. Tempranillos can go big. They can go plus body. This is medium plus body to me. It's still big. Still got nice silky tannins.
This has a delicious mouth, like a delicious flavor profile just right out of the gate.
Yeah.
In a really nice, medium bodied mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Not too heavy, definitely not light. Definitely has a pretty substantial flavor. I mean, it's kind of coating my mouth. It's kind of coating my tongue. Even now, my first sip is lingering very pleasantly in the back palate in that special way that says, drink more of me, friend.
Always. So the thing I love about Tempranillo, and the thing I love about this Tempranillo is I almost get like a blackberry jam. So when we're talking about like wine flavors and profiles, like there's nuance to the words you use, because if we take a scoop of jam, that's different than squeezing blackberries in your hand and eating it. That's different than taking a fresh blackberry, right? So that jam to me has a slight acidity and tartness on the back palate that I think this really shows. Beautiful red fruit too with that strawberry. I think there's strawberry and plum and blackberry jam, like all kind of mixed in there. And it's subtle on the tertiary. So the tertiary notes being like what comes from the barrel, right? I think they're present, but they're so well integrated. This is, I think, an extremely balanced wine. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I would definitely go with balance on this with an emphasis and a flavor profile that would appeal to anyone who likes a more like bolder, bigger wine. But this isn't overwhelming. It's not like, again, it's not punching you in the face. It's not something that's so big that it's going to just destroy your palate for the rest of the evening or just take it over. I mean, this could be a wine. I think I would go to this wine after starting with something. This would be a good mid-tier wine for me, but it could be an end of the night wine. I mean, it does have enough body that it is pretty delicious.
I think you're spot on. I really do. I think you're spot on. I love one of the things I love about your process when you think about wines. We all have our process. When we think about wines, we think about them in moments and memories and food and whatever it is. And Barry and I think a lot about where does this wine bottle fit throughout the night? Because we'll be honest, we're not one bottle a night people.
Totally.
With friends, it's got to be multi-bottles, and you got to have a layer to it. I think
you need layers.
This wine, let me just kind of get in the shot here. This wine, I just want to show you the label. So when you come into the store, into the Fox and Bottle, you know exactly where to come get it. But yeah, this one to me has this really nice, even keeled, approachable firmness. So I kind of think of it as like, that really, it's like that doorman at the club, but he's a softie at heart. It's kind of like one of those, right? It has this like this muscliness to it that's there, but it doesn't need to be used all the time.
Yeah.
It's got a really fun.
It's like a muscular teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a teddy bear with some some substantial like guns underneath that fur. But no, this is like this is shockingly good actually.
And I took a departure, right? I mean, I think so. It's Washington producer, obviously Cave B, Washington producer, but Tempranillo, not a grape I usually mess around with a lot. I think with the right producer. So getting into Tempranillo a little bit, again, not a varietal that I like go deep into all the time, but for those who want to know, Tempranillo is what we call the noble grape of Spain. So what is a noble grape? The noble grape just means it is made with quality and consistency and just like expectation from a region, right? So it is the noble grape in Spain, and it's really the main kind of driver of Rio. That's an area in Spain that you're going to see. A lot of this Tempranillo, especially in Spain, can be big, punchy, and like structured and just kind of like yells at you from the glass. I love the flavor profiles of Tempranillo, but it's that over the top, maybe high ABV at times that can just be too much. So when you can have a producer, and actually right here on the label, shout out. So we got Freddie, he's the winemaker for Cave B. When you can kind of temper that and really bring a level of balance and acid to fruit to terroir vibe, it's just so enjoyable, just so fun.
Yeah, I agree. The wine, if it was in my wine cellar, like say it came in maybe a club shipment, I wouldn't just immediately know where to place that.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a lot of experience with Spanish wines. In particular, it's one of the only places in Europe that I have not been. I have not been to Spain yet.
Dude.
Poppin Bottles needs a road trip, right?
Road trip to Rioja.
Yeah. The road to Rioja. We'll document our wine journey.
Yeah.
It'll be glorious. And shout out to Spain for their win over France today. It's quite dramatic.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we kind of dated the day we're recording this podcast. But and again, I think you bring up such a good point. Like, and we've talked about this on other episodes, the difference between, say, a Washington expression of a grape versus an old world. You can generally, unless you're maybe dealing with a few very specific winemakers, you can generally expect that to be quite different than the old world presentation. And this one definitely, to me, has a lot of Washington like wine elements to it. And it's so when I drink this is absolutely a Washington wine. And yet it has its own nuance to it that's very different than some of the other varietals that we've had on the show.
Which is something else that I really appreciate, right? It's not trying to be Spanish. It is just it's a Spanish varietal that is very much Washington. And I think that is something to also enjoy. And I think that when we drink wine, I think a lot of times people will say they're looking for a certain varietal and they're thinking of a very specific wine or a specific wine region. And I don't think that's always the most helpful way to approach a wine decision or a wine drinking experience, because every wine's gonna be different regardless. But I think there's so much beauty in each way a wine producer approaches their style that appreciate what's in the glass, see it for what it is, and maybe what they're trying to do with it. Maybe they're trying to express it just in a different way. Or you can't take a Spanish Rioja terroir and put it in the States, right? So you have to allow it to be its own beast. But I do love that. I just, to your point, I do love that you can definitely taste it's Washington, but it doesn't punch in the face.
How many other would you, and this is, I know, just a complete random guess, as you do not have, you have not cataloged every lineup of every Washington winery, but just like off, shooting from the hip. Because I'm just trying to recollect here with my strange wine photographic memory of, say, grocery stores, wine shops, and other places to buy wine. I kind of do have like this weird photographic memory where kind of like we'll remember. How many Tempranillos do we see coming out of Washington producers? Like if we had to guess, like is there like 5? Is it like 50? Is it like 100? Is it like 3? I mean, is it common or uncommon or semi-common?
I think it's falls somewhere between uncommon to semi-common. And the reason I say that is because a lot of, when I talk to producers, a lot of it has to do with how the fruit's being grown. Are people planting more of that fruit? Is there a desire for that fruit? Do people want to try to mess around with certain fruits? I think Tempranillo is probably a less common. It certainly is. I mean, I think that's probably a safe statement to say it's a less common varietal that we're going to see producers make out of Washington State. So I think you're probably and again, if anyone does know the answer, let me know. This is a complete shot in the dark. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 10% range of wine producers.
That's what I would guess
dipping into Tempranillo.
I'm just trying to think, like, as I've perused the shelves at various locales, like I've seen some, but I haven't seen many.
Yeah.
And it would fall into, I think also you could probably say this for like Italian varietals, some like really Italian varietals that are like Washington producers. Like for instance, you're not seeing a bunch of Washington or like, which is a kind of a style too of wine. But like,
I think if you're looking for that, like there are certain producers like a buddy, Seth Kitsky, right? He has Upside Down Wine and the Kitsky family wine. he does focus a good chunk of his production on Italian specific varietals. But then he has his Bordeaux style or his French styles. And so I think when you're looking at like things like an Italian varietal, the producer is going to be like, yes, I leaned into that, right? I really wanted to focus on that. So I planted and I cultivated and I harvested that varietal or those selection of varietals because I just had an affinity for it. I don't think a lot of this is by like happenstance or chance, right? How do you want to produce it? And now it's just a cost thing. But yeah, it's I would say the Bordeaux in Washington, the French varietals are king, but I really do think Spanish and Italian. I mean, we're seeing like some really cool Hungarian grapes being grown in the Willamette Valley right now, and those are creeping their way up to the Columbia Valley. So, I mean, I think we are experimenting on the West Coast more and more and more with different varieties.
Well, if they taste as good as this Tempranillo, bring it on, baby,
Yeah.
because this is absolutely delicious.
I'm so thrilled with this wine. And I mean, we didn't even give ourselves much time to let it breathe. So this is, I mean, even this like, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes, it's been opening as we go.
Yeah.
And that sharp angle that I think comes a lot with Washington wine early, I started to settle.
I was going to say, it's like, it's a little bit more of a smooth transition in your experience of it, right?
Yep.
Whereas the first sip, when first opened, kind of had some distinct phases. It was a little bit soft on the front, spiked in the middle, kind of cascaded across the back palate and lingered. And now it's starting to get a more rounded, balanced mouthfeel.
Totally.
So this is awesome. Segment 2, we're going to continue with this same winery, which we don't often do. Oh, I guess we do sometimes, but it's always fun when we do 2 wines from the same winery. But it's also fun when we do totally different wines as well. But
it's all fun.
It's all fun because it's all delicious wine. That's why you're at the show. That's why you come to the Fox and Bottle. So what are we going to do? Where are we going next?
So we're going to come back into France on a varietal. So we're going to do Syrah, 100% Syrah from Cave B. Still Ancient Lakes. It's amazing. Syrah's one of my faves, one of your faves. So we're going to dip into that here in a second.
Beautiful. We will see you back on segment 2 where we hit that Syrah. Beautiful. Friends, welcome back to segment 2 where we continue our journey with Cave B into a delicious, well, hopefully delicious Syrah. I haven't tried it yet, but Brandon has a very high track record. Sir, break down what
we have a 2022 Syrah from Cave B, Ancient Lakes AVA here. And I have not had this now in a few weeks. So we just popped it. We're going to both try this again together here. But from my memory and from what I'm about to try, I know this is going to be the Syrah that you're going to want to bring to the next party. This is the Syrah that I think people can understand what Syrah is without having to think about too many of the richness of it. It's like just
not being overly smoky or something.
Not being overly smoky. Yeah. And we're gonna have a whole new episode about the Rocks District. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, we need
James and I need to have our we think of like that comes with a certain flavor profile. We think of Ancient Lakes or Yakima Valley, whatever it is. This wine to me has, like all the wines we bring on here, it's almost a broken record situation. The balance, the approachability, and the ability of this wine to hold up to food and drink on its own, I think is stunning. So dip your nose in, let's get it in the glass.
Smells very different than the Tempranillo.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
But the aromatics on this actually, wait, I got to actually take a pause because the aromatics on this to me feel like floral in a way that I was not actually anticipating. And that might just be, whatever I have going on here. Wow. Wow.
Yum.
That kind of takes you on a little bit of a journey there. A little bit of a journey, right?
We're going places with that.
Wow. It's brighter. It's actually brighter than I thought.
Yeah, it is for sure. On the front, kind of that front mid palate, definitely a little bit brighter than you'd be anticipating.
So one of the main character notes people think of when they think of Syrah is going to be that black pepper, white pepper. What do you get with this?
Yeah, and for me, where maybe some of that peppery stuff comes in, is it comes in kind of my like mid back palate, kind of hits me like after like the front facing flavor for me, very enjoyable. A little bit lighter, spiking into like that mid signature kind of flavor. That's like middle back of my tongue, and then a little bit of a astringency, very light but pleasant astringency in the back palate for me.
But there's a fruit on
there is,
that I'm like, man, I honestly, and it's young. I mean, I honestly think this is one of those wines I can lay for a little bit longer for sure. It has this fruity pleasantness that matches with some of those like prickly tannins. So prickly tannins, there's some that feel kind of like a wool blanket that lays down. There's some that feel kind of like you ate Pop Rocks and they pop across your tongue or your teeth. This has more of that like pop little fizz, like a little fairy kind of dumping across. That's really nice.
Yeah. No, it's like pleasant. Like it's a little bit of an enjoyable astringency. Because like astringency when it gets to that wool scraping across the teeth, or like it's a full mouth, peel out for me. That tends to be wines that I don't enjoy as much. That
Yeah. Or you need something to eat, like to just kind of cut that.
Yes,
like
exactly.
A good cheese or something just kind of wipes it away almost, right?
Totally.
I kind of dig this. I don't know why, but this is kind of a more surprising wine for me.
I would say this is like, obviously we drink a lot of Syrahs on the show, and we love Syrahs, and I love Syrahs. And of course, we feature a lot of times Larry and Rush Latin's one of my go-to Syrahs. And so if we were to compare like this Syrah to like one of Larry's Syrahs, these are quite different in terms of their presentation and their experience and kind of what they're doing with the grape and the methodology. Very, very different, right? So again, this goes back. What's so cool about grapes in Washington is that you can have, again, besides the terroir, besides where it comes from here in Washington, then the winemakers, like individual, what they're going to do with it, where they're going to take it, brings you into a completely different experience of that wine, right? And I would agree. I would say this could for sure be a food. Like I think this could absolutely, could see this as a food wine. This could also stand up as like just a solo drinker and a thinker.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you need something to parallel this as you're drinking it. I think this is nice. This actually, what's funny? This reminds me of a really nice Northern Rhone Saint-Joseph. So the Northern Rhone, just if we're going to educate. So in the Rhone Valley that splits into north and south. In the north, in the red side, you're only going to get Syrah. And so the Syrahs up there tend to be just slightly less complex, slightly less, I shouldn't say complex, slightly less robust. They're more straight line. They're more like, I'm Syrah and I'm here, and it is what it is. But they're not going to have a ton of that like deep, rich character and tannic quality to it that you get when you go in the Southern Rhone. It's a little hotter. You're blending with, Grenache and Moët and So and whatever else. This kind of tastes like that Northern Rhone, maybe almost like neutral oak, right? Which again, I don't know exactly if this is on neutral or if there's a partial neutral, partial new French, but God, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm baffled, but I'm like, this was not the Syrah that I was like anticipating.
I really like it too. It's like really enjoyable. It's sometimes with some of the really richer Syrahs, they can kind of nuke your palate a little bit. You know what I mean? In the sense that it's like you can't really taste anything but that taste like after
100%.
When you're done with that bottle, it's just like your flavor profile. I mean, you need to go like scrape your tongue and brush your teeth and eat some crackers and like you need to do like a whole routine to kind of restore your taste.
Probably not going to do another bottle if you want to taste it next.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah. I would kind of pick something that you're like, this is just an easy drinker. It just goes with anything, like maybe like a Merlot or something, you know what I mean? Something that's going to be non-offensive. But this doesn't have that level of just absolute tongue coating, mouth, just like palate owning. Yeah. What it does have though is like a really distinct and quite enjoyable flavor profile. I would agree. Yeah. I would say this is a delicious, like, enjoy it. It kind of like sipping on it in every glass. And I bet as we sit here and drink it, it's going to continue to. Yeah, totally.
And so like when you, because you love Syrahs, I love Syrahs, but when you're drinking a Syrah, like what do you look for when you drink that one sip and you're like, okay, that's the Syrah that I really enjoy. What's the flavor profile? What's the nose? What do you enjoy?
Yeah. So it depends on what time it is, again, in the evening. And for me, I like mine. It could be a breakfast Syrah. Yeah, so I really like it, that goes with some Wheaties and it's just like, or with some eggs and bacon, it tends to be my breakfast of choice. What goes well with my toasted cottage sourdough slice. But generally my Syrahs are going to come out. I'm going to take my Syrah as an after dinner experience for me. So I'm generally not going to have my Syrahs with food.
Okay.
So typically that's why I like a Syrah that is a little bit more robust, rich, delicious, something that kind of like curls my toes a little bit in pleasure. And like, that's the type of, that's like the part of the night where I'm at, I'm like hanging on the couch or sitting out on the deck with the fire pit. And I want a wine at that point that is going to stand, kind of get me into that kind of zone. Right. So that's oftentimes in the Syrahs I'll gravitate towards are on that side. And we've had some, like, I think about, was it the Los Lobos Syrah? Lobo Hills. Los Lobos is the band. Yep. I hope they play Los Lobos there though often, but that would be great. But see, like that Syrah was that's like a very, again, that's not that super complex, giant, big, like Syrah, right? It tends to be more accessible. And so this falls somewhere in between maybe that profile of like an accessible, like more accessible and something that's a little bit more like bigger, richer, like a Rush Latin style Syrah. This falls like right in the middle for me.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy this wine. I think this is incredibly well balanced. I think this opened for an hour, maybe in 2 to 3 years, is going to be stunning. Again, my view on what lays down and what doesn't lay down, I'm going to steal this from Billow from Rasa Vineyards. He taught me this. It has to start balanced to lay down and still be balanced at the end, right? So if you have a wine that's meant to be drank now, drink it now. Just drink it now. There's no point in laying it down. It's not going to get better. If you have a balanced wine that has good tannin, good acid, good fruit, and you lay that down, the process of laying it down is only going to enhance that overall experience equally down the road. And so I think this is one of those wines that this isn't a 10-year lay down for me. This is a 5-year, 3-year, but it's certainly something that's well balanced that can be drank. It's right down the middle, not offensive. I love it. I do have to give a shout out because the rep who reps this for us is a long time friend of the McKerney family. Allison Cram, used to be Allison Klein. Loved to death the ability to reconnect. She went to school with my sister, longtime family friend, and reintroduced me to Cave B because I'd been a consumer of it, but from a professional standpoint, I hadn't analyzed it and dug into it and learned the story and all of that piece of it. And she was able to open me back up to that and to try it. And so now we have a Syrah Tempranillo, we have a Rose, a Chenin Blanc, and a Viognier on our shelves, all from Cave B. Incredible sub 40 on the whites and rosés, just a pop over on the reds. Incredible wines that we have from Cave B. I highly recommend if you're in Woodinville, pop into their tasting room, come to our store, see if you can give a taste. If I'm here, I'll let you have a taste of it. And before we get into anything else, I do want to kind of let you know this cool little story here, because I think one of the things we talk a lot about is the history, the geography, and wine. On our first segment, we talked a little bit about this, but this is the visual representation of what I'm talking about here, and we'll enhance for the pod. But there's a soaring bird, a couple cute little guy and a gal here, and down below we have a accordion. Thank you, an accordion case. And that's all the story of the original wine owners, Vince and Carol. This is their story. That's right here on the label. I think it's super clever, super classy. It's just a fun story to tell.
Which is they came from New York to here, and he used to play accordion. Is that what?
Yeah. So I guess the story goes in New York, in his apartment, he'd lug his accordion case down to the subway, play his accordion, lug it back. And then over time, they become very successful, incredibly successful people, both he and his wife in the medical field. And then they made their way out. I think it's post-Vietnam War. They're both enlisted and they were doctors and they made to Bremerton. Like, they have a great story. It's a really cool story. But we love the winery. We love the wine. We love the winery. And I just can't say enough.
And now these guys are also the Cave B out at the Gorge. Is that the same or is that different?
Nope, this is them. So this is them. This is the Cave B. The founder, Vince and Carol, they founded the Gorge. They founded what we all go to see concerts at.
They founded the Gorge?
And that amphitheater. And I think they have one that's called, we'll get, I'm sure hopefully some of the comments. It's something B Theater. There's another kind of amphitheater out there as well. But yeah, the Gorge Amphitheater was on their property. They have the vineyards off there to the, I guess that would be maybe the south, and then the Gorge on the north. And yeah, so that's all that same family.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
To them for making wine and bringing in the Gorge, which is one of the greatest places to go see a show.
Gorge at George.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. This is phenomenal. So come on into the store, grab some of this. Love it. I mean, again, this Syrah is an absolute banger and super versatile. And that Tempranillo was, for me, probably just a big surprise hit because it had a really delightful mouthfeel, soft, round, delicious. I loved that wine. That was so good.
I think you can't go wrong either way on these reds. I wish we had more time. We could go through the whites and the rosés. It's just, I think the whole lineup that Cave B has is pretty spectacular. We're going to keep them in stock. So please come in, share that experience with us.
Totally. Let's talk a little bit about what we got going on. We can wrap the show up with kind of some of the happenings. And so in one of the happenings with Cave B, I think coming up in a couple of weeks, don't we have a tasting with them?
We buried the lead. Yeah. So Cave B is actually for Edmonds Wine Walk. The pouring station is going to be here at the Fox and Bottle. So we get Cave B and all their glory to pour at the Edmonds Wine Walk August 1st, I believe. So come on in, get your tickets. There's an incredible lineup this wine walk, but we get first crack at Cave B.
Is this wine walk different than the last wine walk?
It's going to be exactly the same. Yep. Some of the different wineries, but by and large, the function is the same.
Would you say if you came to the other wine walk, should you also come to this wine walk?
100%, because I think you're going to find about a third to potentially half different wineries. So I think if you can show up find your favorite new wineries, go check out some other favorites that you've had in the past. I just don't think it's a bad thing to kind of experience new wines, find things you like, find things you don't like. But most importantly, support local, support Edmonds, be a part of the community. That's what we build here. I mean, that's why I'm giving shout outs to family friends of 20, 30 years ago. I mean, the whole thing that we do here is if you have the will, get out to the Edmonds Wine.
Well, yeah, and it is fun. And that's great to know though, that it's like a fair amount of new and different wineries, because you don't, it's like, it still would be fun if they were all the same, but the fact that they're all, like, half of them are going to be different-ish, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it really just is a blast. It's a really fun night. It
is fun. Grab a group of friends, go hang out, grab dinner at Salt and Iron or, Sankai or something, and then dip around. Like it's just a fun evening. We're going to be here. I will not be here. And this is something we'll tee up for a new episode, but I'm going to be heading to Ireland for a few weeks with my family. So we're going to be heading to Ireland. So we have a fun upcoming episode or two that might deviate a little bit from our normal wine focus. So we might get a little bit more into the other happenings of the Fox and Bottle and the apparel side, and maybe a Guinness. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Maybe a Guinness. Maybe a Redbreast will show up. That would be really good.
Oh
my God. Because dude, you got me started on that. So shame on you, sir.
I take full
shame on
responsibility.
you, because now it's all I talk about. And I'm just like, I bought it for people. I'm just like, you got to try this.
Shot in the beer,
exactly.
Redbreast. Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Wine Club. It's been about the same wine club for the last 3-4 years. We're going to have to change some things, stay up with, tariffs and prices rising and all sorts of benefits that we're adding. So if you want to get grandfathered in to this wine club that we have that's booming and it's an incredible community, be a part of the Apero, which is a club event that we have every other quarter where you have a big blowout kind of party. If you want discounts on all the merchandise and all the wine and buy the glass and free pours, sign up as soon as you can. Get in before August 1st and be grandfathered to the old pricing and ongoing. And I just think it's an incredible community to join, and I hope you do.
And I would highly recommend signing up before the 1st. The new club is continuing to be and will be fantastic and incredible. But whenever you have an opportunity to kind of get in at what was the ground floor, and I've seen this with a lot of clubs as they grow over time, and just, as a business has to grow and adapt to changing economics, you'll see changes in wine clubs. And I think about like Janik Winery is one of my favorite wineries and one of the original wine clubs that we joined a long time ago.
Huge fans.
Yeah.
Huge fans here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about that club when we started, we got grandfathered in, and it's just one of those cool things that, even as we bring new friends into the club, it's still an awesome club, right? But it's just like, it's great if you can snap some of those, lock those benefits down, lock them down. So you have about 2 weeks to do it.
Yeah, a couple weeks to do it. I mean, yeah, like you said, the new club's going to be fantastic. Still great benefits, still great. Yeah, I think it's nice to know what you get. And I would just get in now. I think the August club is actually, I say this a lot of times because it's true, but I really do think this August club is one of the cooler clubs. And I'm already teeing up for the November club. So I would highly recommend get in and then be a part of this fun next 6 months before year end. It's just going to be really cool.
It's going to be ultimate coolness.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. As always, incredible wines. It's an absolute blast. And friends, if you're out there and you're listening and you're watching, we would love to see you in the shop. So come on down. If you're not in the wine club, come on down and join the wine club, obviously, because the benefits are immense. And if nothing else, we will see you ideally at the Wine Walk here in a couple of weeks, where you can experience the magic of downtown Edmonds as it comes to life in a fun party-like atmosphere that is absolutely magical and something to absolutely, for sure, attend. Do not miss it if you missed the other one. And if you came to the other one, come to this one too. We'll see you on the next episode.
Love it.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.